Hello guys, and in this tutorial we will talk about numeric data types. And so far we talked before about integers and we used them in our program, but there are way more than that, and in this video we'll cover the ones that can store numbers in them. I made a list of the most common ones, and here's the list. So as you can see, I split them up in two different groups. The one above is the ones that can hold the full numbers, basically without the decimal places, and they are stored in the sorted in the from smallest to biggest. Okay, and these are right here on the bottom are the ones that can hold decimal places, and they also stored from the smallest to biggest. And um, we used this integer right here before, and for the most part this is all pretty much we're gonna use in most cases. And if you right here see on the left, I put out like different names for them. They're also called int32, int16, and int64, and these are basically for the how many bits are in each of them. And just so you know, these are kind of all called integers. They're just different kinds, and so these are kind of like nicknames for them: short, int, and long. Okay, later it will be a little bit more important than right now, but I just want to make sure that you guys are familiar with that. Okay, so these numbers can hold, integers can hold from negative to positive, and this is the range that any number in between will be able to store in each of them. Okay, so if you assigned a bigger number than this can hold, it will give us an error, and we'll look at that in example in a minute. Okay, there's also a byte here. I put it in here because there's different kind, and it cannot store negative numbers in it. Okay, later we will talk about the ones that can only store positive numbers, but that's later on. Okay, so let's go back to our program, and let's do some assignments. Okay, so let's do byte, um, and let's name it x, and let's assign a small number, let's say 45. And we want to do is we want to print it out, um, and we want to put x in there. So let's see, we're gonna run control F5, and indeed we get 45. Okay, so if we were to increase this number to bigger than it can hold, which is, let's say, 450, right? And it will give us the underline, and it says, oh, it can store, you need a bigger representation, okay, of data. So this is not gonna work, so we would need to change this to int. And all of a sudden it can work, and there's no more errors. Okay, the other thing is it's an integer, and we would assign a 3.5 to it. It's also gonna yell at us telling, hey, this is decimal, we cannot store that in there. Even though if you look at this, it obviously the number is between this, right? I mean 3.5 is in between these two, but it cannot store because it cannot understand the decimal, the dot, when to separate it. Okay, um, so these are pretty much the main ones, and we in this case we would need to change it to double. Okay, and now this would work. Okay, so there's obviously more than just this, and we will cover them in the next videos, but for now just want you to know that these are the main ones, and we most of the case we're going to use this integer for the whole numbers, and we're going to use double for calculations when we do divisions and things like that. Also, we want a precision more, we would use double. When we calculate the money, we will use double as well. Also, in the top, most of the people will just use integer all the time, even though you know you're gonna be in between this range, because nowadays computers are so much space in them and programs, that's not a big deal, unless you're designing, a program for, a watch or something small that doesn't have a lot of memory in there. Then you might be considering doing something like that to minimize the size. Otherwise, most of the time we use integer, and for small numbers, Sometimes we go to loan when you calculate the money of Bill Gates or something. Then you definitely need this one, or any numbers of population or something like that in the world, or any big number, the huge one. Then you use this, and this is pretty much gonna cover everything that you need. Um, so this is it for now, and in the next tutorials we will cover other kinds of data types.